From the Score Atlanta television studios in North Atlanta, this is Georgia High School Sports Daily, powered by IBEW Local 613.
Welcome to Intern Insights, a brand new show where Score interns deliver breaking news, share their thoughts, and preview some exciting upcoming events. I'm one of your hosts, Pilar Rossi, joined by Will Fields and Reggie Graham. Today we'll be covering a variety of topics ranging from unsigned seniors to former NFL talent in high school coaching, followed by a quick recap and preview into the girls' varsity soccer season, which tips off this week. Reggie, you're a football coach yourself. With signing day this week, coaches have been pulling out all the stops to ensure that their players get the necessary exposure to secure a scholarship or opportunity to play at the next level. You were recently at the Unsigned Senior event hosted by Southeast Elite Prospects. From a coach's perspective, do you mind sharing about that event and what you saw?
Yeah, definitely. The event was great. A lot of kids came over there from all over the Southeast, from states like Florida, obviously Georgia, Alabama. Kids came over and they really worked hard. They were very coachable. They were easy listeners. They were ready to work, and they were really interested in taking this to the next to the next spot, and that's what they were trying to do. And looking at some highlights from the game, you'll see that it wasn't much of a offensive game really until late. You see here the score is 3-0 Black, and the white team catches the deep pass and takes it 75 yards down the field. This was like the biggest play of the first half for Team White. And it was done by Cam Penny with the touchdown, a little celebration there. The kids are loving it and enjoying it and working hard. And it was a great game for Cam Penny. Here you got Team Black. They did this most of the game. They stopped the run with their aggressive defensive line. They were always coming up, making plays. And this was the story of the first half. But you got our guy here, Duncan, and I'll talk about him a little bit later. Duncan Carpenter was a great player in this game, and he made a lot of big plays for Team White and really kept them in the game. But here, Trenton Rose, probably the best player on Team Black, was definitely the offensive MVP for Team Black and the MVP of the game. And they did really good moving the ball down the field, just getting the ball into his hand. And here again, this game also had a lot of fourth down stops. And this was another fourth down stop, followed by here another 4th and 9 situation where they actually made the catch after it bounced up in the air. And this is 2 minutes left in the second half, so Team Black is definitely trying to drive down the field. And they find their main man again, Trenton Rose, catching the ball, running 30 yards down the field after the catch, making a couple guys miss right here. He was a great player, made a lot of plays. He had 15 targets in the game. And but in a highlight type of game or senior type of game where you got players from everywhere, he was the one that stood out. But once again, you got Team Black here now in the third quarter with the score 10-7. Team Black is really just causing problems. There was nothing that the offensive line for Team White could do, and the Black team had a great defensive line. But they didn't give up. Team White did not give up, even with Team Black here rolling out, finding their man in the back of the end zone for the touchdown catch. Cornerback bit up on the flat route there, gave up the deep pass. But Team White didn't give up, and they kept running the ball up and down the field, and they finally got it going there in the third quarter. And that nice run right there set up this pass right here from the Grissom quarterback from Alabama, making the pass there. Nice over-the-shoulder pass, but they were not done yet. That made it 17-14. They got the ball back, went down the field, and they found their man, Cam Penny. He had 2 catches in the game, both of them for touchdowns, and that one right there gave them the lead with 1 minute left in the half. So that was definitely a great play by him. And, look at this game, and you look at the stats of the entire game, you can see that in the first half, Team White only had 1 rushing yard, but they finished the game with 89 rushing yards. That really told you what they did in the running game, as well as your Team Black could never really get the game running. And guys like Duncan Carpenter and that defensive line really did a good job of stopping the run. And then when they forced them to pass, they put them in passing situations that they didn't feel confident in. And the only 1 turnover in this game, you would expect a lot more turnovers, but sometimes you only get 1 turnover. And it shows that how the guys prepared. They only had 2 days to prepare. January 25th, January 26th to prepare for the game. And, they really prepared themselves. But only 1 turnover, which is good to know. A couple of players in our spotlight we have here with Team Black. We talked about him a little bit earlier. Trenton Rose, who had 15 targets, 11 catches, 122 receiving yards. You saw that big one for 38 yards. They gave them a big lead there in the third quarter. He had that one touchdown. See, he's from Jenkins High School. He's part of the Warriors there in Savannah. He's only 5'7", 160 yards, but you couldn't tell the way he played out there. He did a great job of getting the ball and moving down the field. Even in high school, Rose did it all for the Warriors, and he's named the Region 3A Player of the Year for his efforts. Get these numbers. He ran for 630 yards, 7 scores, averaged 9.8 yards per carry. He caught 30 passes for 396 yards and had 7 more touchdowns. And then he followed that up with 882 punt return yards and kick return yards, had 2 punt return touchdowns, had 2 kick return touchdowns. This guy did it all for his team, and great job for Trenton Rose, and he really showed out there in the game. And then following the game, he even got a couple of scholarship offers after the game, which is this event was all set up for, and this is what it's all about. He got an offer from Central Georgia Technical College, and he also received an offer from Tennessee Valley Prep Sports Academy. So a community college, which allows him to go in and spend a couple years really developing himself, and then a prep school that gives him another opportunity to really reach out to those big boys and those big schools so that he can, you know, be known. Another player that really stood out for me was, and I talked about it before, Cam Penny from Calhoun High School. He's 6 feet, 172 pounds. He plays wide receiver and defensive back at Calhoun High School. Matter of fact, Calhoun High School won the state championship in 3A. And in that game, he also had a fumble recovery in that game and 3 different tackles. So he played really well in that game, and he played great. He had 2 catches and 2 touchdowns, 1 for 75 yards. Great play. And then Team White also had, this is like a bonus player for me, one of my favorite players to watch in practice and in the games was Duncan Carpenter. He's from Christian Heritage High School, 6'3", 225 pounds. Those numbers right there, 4.5 tackles, 2.5 tackles for loss, 1.5 sacks, a quarterback pressure, a pass deflection. Most of that was done in the first half. They kind of gave him a break in the second half. In the first half, he's really the reason that Team White was able to stay in that game, and that's why the halftime score was 7-3 instead of, you know, it could have been 17-3 or something like that. And I mean, he's a great player. He's, according to Max Preps, he has 61 tackles, 9 tackles for loss, 2 sacks, 8 pressures, 3 deflections, 1 fumble recovery, and a block punt. And he was named to the All-State team as a defensive end / outside linebacker, more commonly known as an edge in today's football. He also received a scholarship offer from Jacksonville Athletic Academy Christian College. So it's a great kid. I worked with him. I talked with him. He was very coachable, loved playing the game. It was fun out there. It was fun talking to him, fun working with him, and I thought it was great. I don't know, Pilar, I enjoyed myself out there, and it was fun. I got a lot to talk about, but I'll leave it there.
I love it. Thanks for breaking it down, Reggie. After the break, we'll hear from Will regarding former NFL talent in Georgia high school coaching. Once again, I'm Pilar Rossi, joined by Will Fields and Reggie Graham. Now we'll be hearing from Will regarding former NFL talent in Georgia high school coaching.
Yeah, absolutely. So first things first, honestly. We've already seen some waves going on in the world of coaching, especially with the new hires. A bit of drama, too, behind the scenes as well. NFL legend Ed Reed actually joined Coach Swank down at Chamblee High School. And this is actually coming about 6 years after he was already inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame, and 5 years after he was hired as the football team's chief of staff at the University of Miami. But here's the thing, he only stayed there until he was offered the new head coaching position at Bethune-Cookman in 2022. But here's where it actually gets interesting, right? The job never actually materialized, and so Coach Reed didn't hesitate to say as much, among other things, on social media. Now, granted, he did later apologize. He talks about how his passion for our culture, our betterment, and bringing our foundation up got the best of him. Now, I wanted to actually ask you, Reggie, as someone with some coaching experience in your life, how would you feel if you were doing the job of working at a major university, developing the program, and thinking that you had the job, and turns out you were never actually offered it?
You know, you'd be surprised how often these things happen. Matter of fact, Bill Belichick just signed his contract just last week, even though he actually received the job last year in December. So it's kind of a normal thing that you expect when you jump into that situation. You know that it takes a little bit of time to iron out all the specifics of the contract and the things that they want people to do and the things you want out of them. And then your agents and everything, all that stuff gets into it. But you eventually expect those things to get done. You know, there's an expectation. I mean, if you look at Shamar Moore out of Michigan, he still hasn't signed his scholarship, and he coached an entire season.
That's
so
crazy.
There's an expectation.
Now, granted, this wasn't his last opportunity. Eventually, he did get the opportunity to coach his son over at Chambly. And obviously, as soon as that opportunity came, he wanted to jump at that. Now, it does turn out he's not alone when it comes to former NFL talents and coaching in positions across the Peach State. We have other people like we have, aside from Ed Reed, we have Jamal Lewis. We have Roddy White at Johns Creek, Terry Allen at Banks County High School, John Hunt over at Woodward, and then, of course, Justin Miller at the powerhouse Milton High. Now, here in just a second, of course, we will have NFL legend Justin Miller on for our interview to talk a little bit about his time in high school coaching and how he's contributed to Milton's football dominance and his motivation for entering that realm of coaching at the high school level. All right, welcome back. We're here with NFL legend Justin Miller and current coach at Milton High School. Just going to go ahead and pull him on and ask him a few questions. How you doing, Coach Miller?
Doing well. I'm doing well, man. How you doing today? How you guys out there?
Oh, no, we're doing great. We're doing great. Thanks again for spending time with us today. And I just wanted to jump right into it, if that's cool with you.
Oh, definitely, man. Let's have some fun.
Right. So can you tell us a little bit about the time between your playing career in the NFL and your time coaching in high school and kind of what made you want to take that route?
Just for me, you know, getting out of football, kind of finding my way and kind of thinking, what did I want to do on the next level after football? I kind of got involved with training some kids, doing some sports performance stuff for those kids. And, you know, I got asked to, you know, train a kid on defensive back techniques and things like that. A good friend of mine, Ray Buchanan, was coaching at FBU, doing a camp series with them guys. And he brought me over. And it kind of just, you know, kind of was a great marriage for me. I think, you know, I was able to be involved in the sport, still keep it fun, keep it exciting, and put my competitive edge into, you know, our youth that were growing up.
Absolutely, absolutely. And so I saw that you started in high school at Pace Academy. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Gotcha. Okay, so what was your experience like that coming straight out of your legendary playing career?
I mean, it was good. I think it was a good learning experience for me. Just introduction into football in Georgia. You know, I was from Kentucky originally, so learning the landscape of football here, kind of seeing what talent was like there, being able to coach kids and being able to motivate them, and just understand that every kid was different, and there was something that you had to try to do to encourage and motivate that kid, and it was great. And it felt, you know, it felt good seeing them accomplish things, get all region, get all state. And get those accomplishments, you know, for the hard work that they put in. You know, it's a beautiful thing.
Now, a lot of the times when it comes down to players who themselves were great players, extremely talented individuals, some people, you know, struggle with teaching others, and other people excel at showing them how to get to where they got. So, what kind of challenges did you face or have to overcome, you know, first entering into coaching?
I think it's first entering into coaching. One of the biggest challenges is the kids being able to trust you. You know. Because if a kid doesn't trust you, it's hard for them to we're able to tell you things, kind of what bothers them, what's their triggers, and things like that. You know, one of my coaches taught me early in the game. He was like, you know, you got to find out about your kids. You know, find out what triggers them. You know, what pushes them, what motivates them. You know, if they're not having a good day, then, you know, what do we say and things like that. I know we always had a code word in our room was Monica. Like if he was having a bad day, because, you know, it was just one of those days. It was Monica's song. So we would all say that in the room, and everybody was like, okay, cool. Justin's having a day. Let's just go on. Let's be positive. Let's keep him going. But just understand he having a day, and like, that worked well for me, and I still try to give that to my athletes now and give them an ability to communicate with me. And I think that's one of those things that's helped me.
100%, 100%. Now, when it comes down to it, obviously, Milton is a powerhouse. It's a top 2 program in the whole nation, right? So what kind of attracted you to their program, and how do you think you yourself have contributed to, some of that perennial success?
Well, for me personally, I had 2 kids there that I've been training since they were younger. Bryce Thornton, who's now at the University of Florida, and Dylan Lewis, who is now at University of Tennessee. So both of those guys were, had a big influence on me and asked me after, I left Pace Academy, would I be interested in coming to Milton? And I met with Coach Reeves, Nick, Coach Sly, who was our AD at the time. And, they made it feel like home. And also, one of my real good friends in this coaching industry, not just in coaching, but in life, Terrence Edwards, he was also in transition because we coached together at at Pace Academy at the time. And we both were in that fork in the road where we're like, what are we going to do? And, Milton embraced us, and it brought us in. It let us be ourselves and let us bring our fire, our coaching, our knowledge, our expertise to them. So
Gotcha.
I think it was a great marriage at that.
I hear you. So did you always see yourself going into coaching after your playing career, or is that something you kind of figured your way into?
Nah, honestly, I did. My mother always said, oh, you'll be a great coach. You should be coaching. You should be coaching at, at your high school, at Clemson and all of that. And I just wasn't, I wasn't really wooed by the idea of it at the time. I think it took me getting involved in it, me coaching kids and seeing that there was a void of good coaching and solid coaching in this industry. And I felt obligated that was my calling to do that.
Okay, fair enough. Now, before we let you go, I do have to ask you this one question. Does the NFL's fastest man from 2007, does he ever test out the wheels on the young kids on the squad?
Yeah, I give him about 10 to 15 yards. That's it. They always try to get me to go 40. I'm like, nah. If I pass 15, that's when that hamstring gonna tighten up. Everything gonna pull.
I hear you.
10, 15 yards. That's it.
Well, hey, Coach, I appreciate your time. It was wonderful having you. And just thanks again for spending time with us and answering a few questions for me.
I appreciate it, man. I appreciate you guys having me.
All right, have a good one. All right, so that was Justin Miller. And now, after this, we're going to talk a little bit about girls soccer with Pilar Rosie. All right, let's talk girls soccer varsity with the season kicking off this week. Pilar, what's the biggest action to watch for coming up?
Yeah, Will, just with how much women's soccer is growing both nationally and internationally, it's going to be so fun to watch those girls out there, whether they're seniors wrapping up their high school careers, gearing up to perform at the collegiate level, or just young talent coming in for middle school. It's going to be competitive. Last year, we saw a mix of new champions and familiar faces taking home the titles. West Forsyth grabbed their third Class 7A state championship in 4 years after a dramatic PK shootout win over Buford. Marist took down Roswell to claim the 6A crown, and Greater Atlanta Christian edged out Cambridge in another PK thriller for the 5A title. We also saw Levette come out on top in Class 4A. Oconee County earned their second straight 3A championship. Fellowship Christian dominate in 2A. In 1A, Padea snagged the division title, while the Shamrocks took home Division 2. Now, with the Class 7A designation being wiped away, that means West Forsyth will be joining the 6A competition. So let's go back to that championship game. West Forsyth and Buford, 2 undefeated teams battling it out at Duluth High School for the title. Leading the charge for the Wolverines was former captain and senior midfielder Presley Freeman, who tallied 9 goals and 17 assists. She was also named the Region 6 7A Player of the Year, as well as the 2024 Georgia Gatorade Player of the Year. She actually just wrapped up her first collegiate season at BYU, so while those are definitely going to be some big cleats to fill for the team, both offensively and defensively, it'll be fun to see who steps up. But back to that championship game, Presley Freeman actually scored West Forsyth's only goal in regulation in the first 4 minutes of the game. Buford tied it at 1-1, setting the stage for a high-stakes penalty shootout. Sophomore goalkeeper at West Forsyth, Addie Utz, now a junior, made an incredible save, tying it up at 6-6. She set the stage for midfielder Gabby Macer, who we actually have on the call today, who stepped up and buried the game-winning PK. So let's catch up with Gabby Macer, a senior and key team leader now, to reflect on that moment and give us a glimpse of what lies ahead for the Wolverines this season. Hey Gabby, how are you?
I'm good. How are y'all?
Good, thanks. Thanks for joining us today. We appreciate your time.
Yes, thank you for having me.
Of course. So can you take us back to that moment at Duluth High School? You step up to take that game-winning PK. What's going through your head in that moment?
To be honest, every emotion you could possibly ever feel rushes through your body. You have your teammates kind of counting and depending on you, and then you hear the fans yelling and screaming, and you know that the Buford team is hoping for you to miss. So all the emotions come at you at once, and I mean, once I touched the ball in my hands, put it at the spot, every noise went away. I was just kind of by myself, hoping that what happened was what happened. So, yeah.
I love that. We actually have your PK here. So let's look back at that moment. We see you bury it in, and then your team, you run to your teammates, they run, they jump all over you. It was a really wholesome, special moment. So you were one of 5 Wolverines named to preseason All-State teams. How is the team coming together so far, and what excites you most about this group of girls?
Yeah, so our team right now, we have a lot of talent that has been brought in. From the talent that was left after all the seniors from last year has left us. The talent that stayed is very good, but also all these freshmen that have come in are amazing talents. So I'm just kind of excited to see how we all meld together because we're all individually very technical and talented, but we have to see how we are as a team. And I think we'll be very good. So hopefully talent in the team can come together to create a whole, and hopefully we'll have a good run at it.
And speaking of talent, now that you guys have entered the 6A competition, do you anticipate any changes in the level of competition this season?
I anticipate that it'll definitely probably be more challenging for us. I think with any level or any division, it's always difficult. You know, you always are going to have your ups and downs, and a lot of these teams are very well-rounded, and we're just going to have to come out every game and play like it's our last and hustle and hopefully get the results that we all want. So.
And your season actually kicks off tomorrow with an away game at Creek View. As a senior and key team leader on the team, or key team leader, how do you plan to maintain high energy and set the tone for a successful season in a quest of a new title?
Yeah, I just stick to our coach's plan. Coach Galt sets what he calls our blueprint, and we build the house. So definitely stick to his plan and follow his lead. But we all trust each other, and we have great communication on and off the field. So, you know, depending on each other and helping each other when we're not feeling the best or on our lows is definitely important. I also think just to make sure that the new people who are new to varsity come in and feel comfortable with playing, because it's definitely hard going from a middle schooler or 9th grader on JV to jumping up to varsity and having to play these high-level games against these great teams, great players. So.
And then you recently committed to the Citadel women's soccer team. So for you, what are your goals this season, your last high school season, as you gear up to play at the collegiate level?
Yeah, for sure. I just want to have fun. This is my last year playing with the people that I've grown up playing with, so I just want to make sure it's memorable. I want to enjoy every practice, every game, and just make sure I give it my all 110% of the time before I'm off to college.
Okay, well, those are all my questions. Thank you so much, Gabby. I appreciate your time. Best of luck tomorrow, and best of luck this season.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Well, that's it. That's all we have today. Thank you guys for tuning in to Intern Insights, our first ever episode. We'll be back for more. We have a long but exciting spring season, so tune in next time.